Hello. Yay. Hello, my name's Hana. I'm a sentient flower and I like Josemuke content, and we are continuing on from explaining the main story of A3. Yippee. And left off with finishing up Act 1 Summer, and now we are on Act 1 Autumn. My favorite group, my problems. I'm not sure how. Actually, it'll just be an hour, 2 hours. But yeah, I'm just gonna explain Autumn. Yay! And for my little synopsis of this part is stop fighting, because legitimately that is what this is. It's just everyone needs to stop fighting. Specifically, two people of Autumn Troop, they just need to stop fighting. And for Act 1 Autumn, it's called Bad Boy Portrait, or Portrait of a Punk. Now, we don't pick up right after summer. We kind of go into a new setup where. Oh, never mind. I was not. Oh. Yep. Okay, here we go. So we go into a new setup where it's the new characters for Autumn Troop talking about their past in some way. So I set up the view like this, where it's the character and then their traits, or what exactly they were talking about in this section. So we get to meet our first member of Autumn Troop, Banri Setsu, and it opens up with his portrait. We get an explanation of what portraits are later on, but right now when we open up into the story, it's like, what is a portrait? I don't know, but this guy is talking about himself, I guess. Okay. So what we learn about Banri is that he's naturally good at everything that he tries. Let's say if he picks up a Rubik's Cube that is mixed up, he can figure it out immediately. He can quickly figure out how to put it back together, or make all the colors into the same sides, essentially. So he's good at anything and everything on his first try, and because of that, it led to him having no passion for anything, and he became very apathetic towards life and just didn't have much motivation and wanted to get through life, pretty much. That's Bonri. And because of this apathy, he goes out of his way to have some sort of thrill and excitement, and he does that by fighting people and provoking fights. And one day he heard about a guy named Juza Hyodo, who was an undefeated delinquent at another school, and Bonri wanted to fight him because Bonri is an undefeated delinquent and Juza's an undefeated delinquent. Let's go and fight. That was his logic. Is, if I can go and defeat him, maybe there's some excitement in that. I don't know. So he goes and finds Juza and tries to fight him, right? But Juza kicks his ass. Juza kicks Bonri's ass, and this made Bonri have a spiral a little, because Bonri was shocked and surprised that he lost in the first time ever in his life that he lost to anybody or anything. And he wanted a rematch with Juza, but Juza was just told him no. Didn't even tell him anything. He just did not respond. Juza minding his own business. He not trying to get in a fight. But Bonri has been provoked. Bonri wanted to provoke Juza. And because of that, Bonri, it took him 2 weeks of him thinking about Juza, and he wants to beat him up. 2 weeks of this man thinking of Juza living rent-free in Bonri's mind, and him wanting to figure out how to beat him. And throughout this time, he tries to provoke fights. Bonri tries to provoke fights with Juza, and Juza ignores him. And Bonri did this for days. for so many days. I don't know what was going on with Banri. He he started obsessing over Juzo basically. He started obsessing over him. It got bad. And that was to the point when Banri he sees Juzo go into a theater and he sees that Juzo is going for an audition. And Banri was so confused. He's like, why is Juzo going to a theater? What is happening? And he laughs at the thought of Juzo in theater and acting. But he got caught by the manager and by Matsukawa, and Matsukawa dragged him into the auditions because Mankai needs people to act. And that's how Banri got to Mankai. And then we cut to the present, essentially. After that whole portrait, we cut to the present and we meet the new people who are going to audition for Autumn Troupe. And so we started the auditions and Ami shows up. Yay, Ami, because Izumi scouted 2 people and it was Ami and someone else. You'll see in a little bit. But yeah, and Ami's here and he's like, "Hi guys, I'm here." And Kazunari gives him a little nickname. Just to point that out. Just wanted to point out that Kazunari gave him a little cute nickname. Amimi. It's cute. Then the next person who wants to audition for Autumn Troupe shows up. And it's Taichi Nanao. My love. Me. That is me, guys. I'm Taichi. And he says he wants to start acting or join the theater troupe, join Mankai, because he wants to be popular with the ladies. Okay, I guess. Okay, Taichi. That's when he goes and sees Yuki because Summer Troupe is here. Forgot to mention that. Summer Troupe is here to oversee auditions with Izumi. And so Taichi goes and sees Yuki and he thinks that Yuki's a cute girl. Which is funny. But this happens. He's a guy. He gets surprised by that. It's funny. And Taichi gets dejected because in his words, he wants a backstage romance. I don't know. Taichi, you silly little thing. We also learned that Taichi and Tenma go to the same high school together. Which is cool. Yay, more people from the same high school. And we cut kind of back to Ami, where Izumi asked Ami why he's here, why he's at Mankai. Yes, she did scout him, but truly, why is he here? And he goes and tells her that he has now wanted to become an actor, and becoming an actor has become his dream, which is some weird wording, but okay, I guess. Okay, Ami. And finally, we have Juzo and Banri, they show up. So when Juzo shows up, it seems like Muku has some sort of relationship with Juzo because Muku seems familiar with Juzo. And then Matsukawa pushes Banri into the auditions because Banri was there to see. And Banri was there to watch Juzo go to the auditions. What's it, I guess. And once Juzo and Banri see each other, they start to fight immediately. They start to fight, and genuinely, they start to literally butt heads and just growl. I don't know how else to explain it, but they just start staring and growling at each other. I don't know. Yeah, and then Izumi has to step in between the two and just yell at them for them to even pay attention. It's bad. These two are bad. And then we finally get our last member to show up because Izumi was waiting to see if the person she scouted would show up. And he did, and it's Sakyo. Yay! Sakyo shows up. And we complete the lineup for the people who are auditioning for Autumn Troupe. And it really is summed up in what the F is this lineup? Because you got two people fighting each other. A guy who wants to be popular with the ladies, Ami, and Sakyo. What is going on with this lineup? Anyway, we go into the auditions themselves. So, brief overview of their auditions is Ami is stiff with his line delivery, but he has good projection. Taichi is good and it doesn't seem nervous, and it's odd because he seems as if he knows what he's doing, but that shouldn't be too worrisome, right? That's really foreshadowing. Anyway. And then Banri goes and auditions, and he's not bad. He has a pretty good grasp of timing, and he has a good presence. He's not bad at acting, so, I guess. And Juza, he goes after Banri, and Juza's bad. Juza was really bad. He could not. It was very stiff. It was choppy. It was bad, but he begged Izumi for him to stay and to be part of the company, and that showed off his passion for acting, and it really touched Izumi's heart. It really touched her heart. And then finally, Sakyo is the last to go through the auditions, and he showed off basically how he was taught. What I mean by that is, even after how many years passed, he still has a good foundation of acting and has great technique. And because they're the only 5 people there at their auditions, they all pass. Yay! And then Banri and Juza start fighting again because of course they do. And as you see, Juza, you suck. The hell you say? And then Izumi has to go and stop them from beefing with each other. God! Every moment of their lives is just Banri and Juza beefing with each other. It's bad. Anyway. So we go back to the dorms and we start with the room assignments and having them talk to each other and figuring out how they deal with room assignments. And all of them agree to dorming. At first, Ami was a little reluctant because he was one of the people taking care of his family because he has a father and 2 younger brothers. He does not have a mom. His mom did die. Sad. But he ultimately agrees because he wants his family to be independent from him because he was the person taking care of everyone. So, and then they start to decide roommates. Sakyo goes and suggests that Banri and Juza should be roommates. Despite them fighting all the time, he thinks that they would, by forcing these 2 together, it will help them become better teammates. And Izumi does agree. So they do try to put those 2 together and agree that Banri and Juza are going to be roommates. Which then leaves Ami, Taichi, and Sakyo. And that's when Sakura shows up. And he tries to dorm with Sakyo because he wants to support Sakyo. And so this leads to Sakyo getting a single room because Sakura is gonna show up and he may have other guests over. Which leaves Ami and Taichi to be roommates. Yay. So that's the roommate situation. And now they're gonna go and settle in. But the settling in process gets weird. Not weird, just it's tough. It's tough for some of them. So we go to the day when they're settling in, and Izumi is preparing dinner for everyone. And Taichi and Omni go and find her. And they tell her that they're done unpacking. She notices that Banri and Juzo are not there with Ami and Taichi and assume that they're still unpacking. And she goes and asks Taichi and Ami to check up on them. We cut to Banri and Juza and then fighting. Because of course they are. Of course these 2 are always fighting. And it was because Bonri provoked Juza about acting, and Bonri telling Juza that he's great at acting and that Juza's bad at acting and why he's even here. And he can act circles around Juza, and Juza goes and retaliates and tells him, "You're not even here because you like acting. Why are you here?" Juza earnestly wants to act, but Bonri is taunting him, and he couldn't because of how scary he looks. Juza is scary, and they were physically fighting until Ami cuts in and restrains Juza, while Taichi pushes Bonri out the room to get dinner, breaking up the fight. And this leads to Juza asking Ami that if Bonri and Juza ever get in a fight again, that Ami, please break up the fight. Then we cut to Izumi finding Sakyo outside, reminiscing at the past. It's really small and sweet. It's just them two. It's cute. Ami and Izumi. What? Yeah, Ami and Izumi are great. But Izumi and Sakyo as well are great. Anyway, we continue on. And for this episode, I guess, they're called episodes, we open up with Juza's portrait and learn about Juza's past. So, while growing up, Juza was very isolated. He was a taller, he was quiet, he was expressionless, and he had scary eyes when he was a kid. He still has those scary eyes and all those other qualities, and so it made him isolated from people, and people not wanting to approach him, and made him unapproachable. And because of all these qualities, some people would pick fights with him because he was intimidating and seemed like a threat to people. And so he unintentionally got labeled as a delinquent because people started fights with him. And all he was doing was defending himself. But he became a delinquent because of other people. And it's sad. And one day in middle school, their school festival. Excuse me. It was his middle school's school festival that was going to be happening, and his class specifically was going to put on a play. This made Juza think, hey, I want to join the play. And why did he think that? Because he wanted to join because he saw acting as a chance to show a different side of himself to others, and also it's giving him a chance to become a person that he doesn't hate. He doesn't want to hate himself. So he wanted to try acting so he doesn't hate himself. But when he got the courage to volunteer, his teacher immediately put him in stage crew. It could be a thing of sparing his feelings and making people not scared of him, but it made him lose hope on acting and being on stage. But because of this, it made him so determined to be on stage and act. He just can't take it. Well, not really, but it just made him very lonely and and it made him feel as if he had a dream that's not gonna happen. It's sad. But one day, Juza hears that his cousin Muku has joined theater. And this surprises Juza because Muku is a shy and timid guy. And so he wanted to watch Muku to see what's up. And once he saw Muku on stage, he was very much inspired and also jealous of Muku that he can be someone else. He can be confident and not nervous and not be the person he is in this situation. And that's when he decides he wants to do the same and wants to truly act and truly get into acting and want to become someone. He wants to be someone that he's proud of and not feel lonely and intimidated by himself. He doesn't want to feel lonely. It's sad. I love Juza. Anyway. And that's when he goes and hears about the Mankai auditions for Autumn Troop, and he was so determined to join. And when he was accepted, he's surprised because he never thought that anyone would give him a chance. So having Mankai there, giving him that chance, it gave him hope. And he wants to do everything he can to change himself so to a person, to be someone he doesn't hate. Love you, Juzo. Love you, Juzo Hyodo. And that's like the end, and that's the end of his portrait. Which we cut to a, welcoming party for Autumn Troop. And specifically where Muku is congratulating Juzo for joining. And Juzo goes and tells him that everyone in Mankai should not know that they're related. This is because Muku calls him by a nickname, Juchan, which Muku interprets as he gets dejected and he interprets that, oh, Juzo doesn't want to associate with Muku because Muku's very shy and weak. But Juzo tries to explain to Muku that no, that's not why I want you to not associate with me. I just don't want your reputation to be okay. Train thought. Juzo doesn't want people to look down upon Muku because Muku is related to him, who is a delinquent. Because he's a delinquent, he does not want Muku to be looked down upon. So it's a little miscommunication between the two, basically. Now that everyone's settled into Mankai, Sakyo calls a meeting for the entirety of the Mankai dorms. And what he does is he sets some rules to save on money. And what he does, he sets a time that every group gets 20 minutes in the bath, and that lights out at 10 p.m. He is going to turn off the circuit breaker at 10 p.m. And he continues to go on and on and on and on about all these rules that he's going to have for Mankai. And this makes a good amount of people sad, i.e. Itaru, with his late night gaming and anime. He was sad that now he cannot watch his late night anime. So sad. And we continue on, and Sakyo is concerned about bills, and he goes and asks Izumi and Matsukawa about the bills. Matsukawa goes and tells him they don't pay the bills, and the bills are mysteriously paid for, and that freaks out Sakyo a little. Because why are the bills paid for? Why are they not paying the bills? Anyway, we move a little on, and Sakyo goes and asks about how they're gonna pay back the debt. The debt that Mankai has to pay back to him. And Matsugawa goes and mentions the Flora Award, this prestigious award for Japanese best show of the year, and the prize is 10 million yen. But Mankai hasn't won a Flora Award. They got nominated one time, but they haven't won one. And in their condition, they're not able to be nominated for a Flora Award. So Sakyo goes and suggests that they should do nationwide performances and perform at different theaters across Japan. There should be fan events and merch to help with the debt. Sakyo just has plans, basically. Sakyo has plans. And because of this, Sakyo gets forced into becoming Mankai's financial advisor and manager. He sits there questioning why this is happening, but ultimately he accepts and he becomes their financial advisor and manager. And he also encourages everyone that they should aim for the Flora Award. Yay. It's wonderful. But yeah, this is just a whole episode of just Sakura being stingy and cheap, but it's for a good reason, to be honest. To be honest, it's a good reason, but anyway. And we finally start going into practices from Autumn Troop. And this is such a weird anecdote part of the story where Matsukawa shows Autumn Troop these sweet buns called kamekichi kamekichi buns, and they are sweet buns shaped as kamekichi, because because Matsukawa remembered that, oh, I got these made for merch. If we ever did merch, we could sell these kamekichi buns. So Autumn Troop plus Izumi decides to eat them or try to eat them, but they are extremely sweet that everyone just kind of spits them out. Everyone hates them except for Juzo, and we learn that Juzo has a big sweet tooth. Basically, this episode was just this part of the episode was learning that Juzo has a big sweet tooth. Also, kamekichi buns exist. Yeah, and back to them actually doing practicing. Yay. When for their practice, they are now trying to decide who is their leader. Who is the leader of Autumn Troop. And Izumi goes and suggests Sakyo because he has the most experience with acting. But Sakyo goes and refuses and wants one of the younger people, basically anyone else besides him, to be the leader. And Juzo wanted to raise his hand. Banri noticed that and raised his hand and asked if he could be leader, essentially. Everyone agreed to it, and Banri's the leader now. And he's like, okay, I guess Banri and the leader. Yeah, that's great. And because of that, after their meeting, Sakyo goes and discusses with Izumi that, is this a good idea? I mean, it would give Banri growth and responsibility over the troop, I guess. So they let Banri be leader. They're just gonna oversee him, basically. Yay. Now we go on to a new day where everyone is getting up and getting ready to go to school, except for Banri. Bro is not a menace, but he's just a problem. This guy's a problem. And he tells Izumi that he's gonna go to school later, and that he already calculated how many days he can miss and how many classes he can miss, because he can do everything. He already figure out that, oh, I can pass all my classes. Oh, I can do all this. I can do all that. Today I'm just gonna sleep in. Why, Banri? Why are you like this? Then Itaru shows up, getting ready for work, and he goes and complains about his mobile game, and that he was trying to rank in this event in the mobile game, but this player named Neo is beating him, and it pisses him off. And that's when Banri chimes in and saying, hey, I'm Neo. You're Taruchi. This surprises Itaru. He gets annoyed a little, but he goes and asks Banri to play games with him later so they can rank together and be top ranked together. I don't know, I think they just formed a friendship. Yeah, Banri and Itaru just formed a friendship. That's great, I guess. And you just have Izumi confused. That's great. And then Itaru goes and leaves for work. Izumi continues to tell Banri to go to class because he's still not going to class. And as I said before, Banri explains that he gets good grades and he has calculated his attendance, and so he can graduate and just do whatever. And Sakyo overhears this conversation and asks what's going on. Banri expects Sakyo to lecture him, but Sakyo doesn't. And all Sakyo says is that, Banri, you're just good at getting by. You're not good at everything. You're just good at getting by. And so Sakyo leaves, and Banri gets a little annoyed and goes back to his room. This makes Izumi concerned and wondering if Banri's natural talent makes him not motivated to improve, and it worries her a little. We move on to more practicing. Yay! I mean, half of the story is just them practicing because they're actors. Anyway, well, in practice, Banri isn't putting that much effort into becoming a leader. He's not really leading. He really isn't. Yeah, he's not really leading. And you have Sakyo and Izumi doing their best to guide the group because Banri's not doing shit. Banri's not doing it, so you have Sakyo and Izumi doing their best to get the group together. And we're finally on to what the new play theme is and talking with Suzuru about what they should do with the play. And Izumi suggests that it should be action focused because the past autumn troupe was action focused. And specifically Juza, should get a prominent role. Wonderful. That gives Suzuru ideas. And so we cut to dinner where, well, not the immediate dinner because it's like a couple days, like maybe a week later, possibly. We cut to dinner. Itoru, Citron, and Banri are playing video games, and Ami is making a meal, and we're learning that Ami's really good at cooking. He's really good at cooking, and this makes everyone so happy because they get to be free from Izumi's curry. Everyone is happy. Everyone is thanking Ami that they don't have to eat curry 24/7 because Izumi would make that a thing. She gets a little annoyed by that, but we move on. Suzuru shows up, sleep deprived again, to give everyone the script of the new play. Because, of course he does. This man pulls all-nighters to make his scripts. He needs help, but hey, who am I to judge? He is literally a freshman in college. Yeah, I forget that Suzuru's 18 when he's doing this. Yeah, he's 18 and he's a freshman in college, first year in college, and pulling all-nighters for a professional theater company. Great. It's wonderful. So we learn about the play, and it is a gangster buddy play called How Wonderfully Picturesque, or the Roman episode. Well, yeah, we don't question that. So we have our characters. We have our lead, Luciano, or played by Banri, and our co-lead, Lansky, played by Juza. And these two are the buddy. It's focused on these two and them becoming partners in crime, question mark? Yeah, they do crime. So it's them becoming partners in crime and dealing with mafia and gangster stuff. Then we have Benjamin, who's played by Taichi, who is the younger brother of Lansky, the sickly younger brother of Lansky. That's important. Not to the play, but important to other character things. And then we have Dewey, played by Ami, who is a corrupted cop. That is his role. He is the antagonist. He's the one who's messing with the things behind the scenes, and that is Ami's role. It's fun. And finally, we got Capone. I think Capone. Yeah, Capone. Capone, played by Sako, and he is the head of the mafia that Lansky and Luciano are part of, essentially. Yeah. And it's a gangster buddy play. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the play. And while looking over the script, everyone realizes there's just one big issue, and it's Banri and Juza. because this is supposed to be a buddy play, and this play is hinging on their relationship together, their relationship essentially. So Banri and Juza start fighting again, as they do. So Sakyo has to go and take drastic measures, as you see. And he puts the two in handcuffs. He puts them in handcuffs, and if they want to be free, they have to show that they can work together. It's their get-along shirt, basically. And so they're stuck handcuffed together for the day. Or however long... Excuse me. However long Sakyo wants them to be stuck together. So Banri and Juzo spend the day being handcuffed together. They're just arguing. Kazunari and Misumi stop by and ask them if they're okay. We have a little bit where Banri and Juzo are arguing of if they need to go to the kitchen or the bathroom, because Banri needs a drink of water. Not really water, but a drink. And Juzo needs to go to the bathroom. So Kazunari and Misumi walk and meet the two and ask if they can do anything to help. Kazunari goes and asks, hey, I can go and get you a drink because you're thirsty. And then Misumi goes, oh, I can go to the bathroom for you. Misumi, that's not how it works. Thank you for the sentiment, but that's not how it works, Misumi. Anyway, Banri and Juzo still are stuck together, and Saku's still not back from his work. So they go and sit in their foyer, I don't know, close to the entrance of the dorms, and wait till Sakura comes back. Izumi goes and asks if they're okay, and they're just not doing well. They're just arguing and annoyed with each other. So Izumi just wonders and kind of passes by because she needs to go out and get milk. And I'm not joking on that one. She does need to go out and get milk. It was in the text. It was in the thing. It said that Izumi had to go out and get milk. Yup. It's great. And while she was going out to get some milk, somebody shoved into her and stole her bag. And Banri and Juzo hears her, because they were pretty close to the entrance, and ask her what was going on. And she told them that this guy stole her bag. So Banri and Juzo go and chase after the guy who stole her bag. Yeah, and so they go and chase after the guy. And once they corner the thief kind of panics and punches Juzo. And that pisses them off. That pisses Juzo off. These two realized, hey, Juzo just got assaulted. Oh my god, you punched Juzo? Oh my god, this can count as assault. So the next thing that's gonna happen is out of self-defense. We're gonna go and beat you up. So, yeah, Banri and Juzo beat up the thief. Yep. And they bring that thief all the way back to Mangai dorms. Yeah. And they give Izumi back her bag. It's great. It's great. And I think they go and have the thief go to the police. I think. Like, they drag the thief to the police. But, yeah. The thief to the police. Izumi gets her bag back. Yay. Yeah, Ami and Taichi are here too. So they all go back into the dorms and they start to eat dinner. And they go and explain to Sakura what happened. And he goes and asks if Izumi is okay. And offers to accompany her because there are some dangerous places. This man is very, very protective over Izumi. I wonder why. Sorry, I was getting worked up. I love, oh my god, Izumi and Sakura. Their relationship is so cute. Anyway. And And because Banri and Juzo work together, Sakyo takes off their handcuffs. They prove to him that they can work together, so yay! They're free from the handcuffs. But then they go back to fighting, and Sakyo threatens the handcuffs again. They don't learn. Juzo and Banri don't learn. But who cares? Who cares? And now it's another day. They now start to do morning practices, but Banri doesn't show up because, of course, Banri doesn't show up. And when they have breakfast, he does enter, and Juzo confronts him. Is it Juzo? Yeah, I think it's Juzo. And all Banri says that he's fine. My acting's good. Why do I have to practice? Why do I have to do morning practices? Izumi tells him that even though he's good right now, that doesn't mean he'll be good later. This really doesn't sway Banri, but it still makes Izumi concerned about him. Yeah. Later on, Sakyo goes and finds Juzo practicing his lines and gives him some advice. Some nice little advice. And encourages Juzo's passion for acting and tells him that he has time to improve, unlike him. Sakyo acts as if he's gonna die all the time because he's old. He's only 30, yet he acts as if he's gonna die. Anyway, it's mainly because he regrets not doing acting for a good amount of his life, but hey, who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? For their new practice, Izumi wants them to try street acts to get used to audiences and etudes and ad-libbing. But when they try to do street acts, everyone is avoiding them because they're intimidating. You got 3 tall guys, a Yakuza, and Taichi. Taichi not really intimidating, but the 4 out of 5 are intimidating. So Izumi tries to have Ami in the front, but people start recognizing Ami as this name, Wild Wolf Ami. And we learn that Ami had a delinquent past. Look at that. Ami has a delinquent past. So Izumi tries to switch it up and have someone else lead. That's when Rennie shows up. Yeah. Rennie shows up and Izumi gets to meet him. Rennie goes and tells her that he knew her father and he can't wait to see their next show, Mankai's next show. He's so excited. But he's being weird about it. He's being friendly, but that weird type of friendly where the passive-aggressive friendly, basically. Yeah. And then Rennie leaves. He's a little weird. After that interaction, it seemed like Taichi went missing a little. But Taichi comes back and said that he saw a cute girl and wandered off. That's totally not suspicious at all. Oh my gosh. And then Izumi makes Taichi lead for them to do street acts. But people still are avoiding them. This is not a good group for them to start doing street acts. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Now we are on to Yuki starting to do measurements for Autumn Troop's costumes. And he bargains with Sakyo about the costume budget because Sakyo is cheap and always worried about the budget and the money. But Yuki wants a pretty big budget so he can make extravagant costumes. So they go back and forth about the costume budgeting for a little bit. And then when Yuki's finished with the measurements... Oh yeah, also, I forgot it. Not really forgot, but they do show up. Kazunari, Ami, and Muku are also here. Why did I say Ami? Anyway, Kazunari and Muku are also here. And Kazunari goes and notices Taichi and how he seems a little attached to Yuki. Taichi seems a little attached to Yuki. And so Kazunari is thinking, hey, Taichi, do you like Yuki? Do you like Yuki? But Taichi goes and tells them that Yuki reminds him of his first crush. Yeah. So he goes and says that his first crush was a little rude. She called me teeny. She like small, and her crush did needlework. Yeah. He just talks about his crush, and it oddly matches Yuki to a T. It is really, really odd because he continues on saying, even though she was a girl, she talked like she was a guy and referred to herself as a guy. And this makes everyone very much concerned. Not really concerned, but people, all of them are piecing together. Oh, yeah, that's Yuki. Oh, yeah, that's definitely Yuki. There's no denying that his crush was Yuki. And they just don't tell Taichi that his crush was possibly and definitely Yuki. So they just move on. They move on for a little bit. Not really move on, but Kazu goes and asks everyone about their first love. Their first crushes. And if they ever had a crush. He asked Izumi, and she said, I don't remember. He asked Ami. Well, actually, yeah, Sakyo chimes in and saying, I'm not gonna say I had a first crush. It's like, I had a first love. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it, but hey, I had one. Then Bonri says he didn't have one. Juza says he doesn't have one. Ami says he doesn't have one. Possibly had one in elementary school. He doesn't remember. And Kazunari just calls him boring. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Moving on. Matsukawa shows up and then with a threatening letter. A threatening letter was given to them telling that Mankai should stop their performance. Sakyo thinks this is a prank, but Izumi, she's a little concerned. This is important. It'll come up later. And while they're now we're on to practicing more, but specifically Yuzo showing up and to see Autumn Troops practice. And Yuzo goes and teases Sakyo because Sakyo used to go to Mankai and attend Mankai practices when he was very young. So Yuzo saw him grow up a little. And so Yuzo seeing Sakyo grown up, he's like, oh my gosh, you grow up, kid. That's great. That's wonderful. And once we actually get to Yuzo's critiques, he tells them that they're not bad, but they're not putting that much expression and personality into their acting and characters. So, to improve on that, Yuzo goes and assigns all of Autumn Troop to do portraits. And what are portraits? It is a one-man biographical play that is 5 minutes, and they will have to perform it in 2 weeks as an opening act. As an opening act of a performance that he's looking over. And the theme is your biggest regret in life. So that's why we open up Autumn, like Act 1 Autumn, with Bonri's portrait. Then we see each and every other portraits of Autumn Troop throughout the story. It's cool. We get to see the whole backstories and stuff. Yay. So after their main practice, Sakyo finds Yuzo practicing outside again, and he checks up and is seeing if Yuzo's doing all right or if he needs help. And Ami also goes and finds the two and offers the two scones because he knows that everyone's staying up and wants to He wants to words. He knows everyone's staying up and wanted to make them midnight snacks. So cute. We love Ami. Ami Fushimi is wonderful. Now we move on to another episode, which is Sakyo's portrait. Yay! So what do we learn in Sakyo's portrait? That he grew up with a single mother. His dad passed away when he was young, so he grew up with a single mother. And when he walked home from school, he would pass the Mankai dorms, and he was always curious about the dorms. The dorms were always lively and loud, so he would go and watch the performers practice. And then one day, a little girl, one day, when he was passing, mind you, these two, this is when they're very young. These two are when they're very young. They're not adults. I just didn't have, there wasn't really a good way to portray this besides their normal sprites. But anyway, one day while he was passing by the Mankai dorms, a girl brought him into the dorms, and she introduced him to Yukio, the director of Mankai Company. And Yukio took him in, and the Mankai members started to teach Sakyo, teach him a little about acting, and that led to him starting to go to Mankai every day. He really wanted to stand on stage with Mankai. He really wanted to. He wanted to stand on the Mankai stage one day. And it was only a week that he hung out with Izumi, but it was a very meaningful time for him. Unfortunately, when he was in middle school and high school, he needed to do work. He needed to get work and money for his family, for him and his mom. And that led to him working in the Yakuza to get by. He did feel ashamed to go back to Mankai or go near Mankai at all, so he stopped going to Mankai. But he really hoped to see Izumi and Yukio again one day, but he keeps his distance at Mankai. And he just felt sad, essentially, because he saw the company decay over time, and he didn't want the company to go under, so he lent money to help them and tried his best to keep the company afloat. It's sad. But now that he's older and he's doing his best to protect Mankai no matter what. Yes, they're in debt to him, but they're doing everything they can. He's doing everything he can to protect Mankai. And he regrets that he couldn't do theater and help Mankai when he needed it. That's his portrait. And we cut to the present, and it was actually him practicing his portrait. And Izumi goes and finds him practicing and asks if she can see his portrait. He tells her no, but he is reminiscing on memories, and he's reminiscing on those memories and just is glad to see Izumi, the girl he met all those years back, that she's grown up, and they have meet again. They're able to meet again. I say that and cry a lot because, oh my gosh, I love these two so much. Yeah. He's so happy to see her again. And they're both older, and Anyway, we move on. So, we cut. Why would I say we cut to them? What the heck? More practicing goes on, and all of Autumn Troop, besides Bonnery, are helping each other out with their portraits and nitpicking and putting their final touches on their portraits, while Bonnery is playing video games with Itaru. Itaru goes and asks Bonnery how he's doing with his portrait. Bonnery says he didn't start and will wing it. Itaru shows some concern and tells him that he'll be found out that he's lying. Izumi's going to find out. Izumi's going to tell that you're lying. And Bonnery says, it's fine. There's no problem. That's what he says, but it's all a problem. It's totally not like this is a problem or anything. So for their next practice, Yuzo stops by to see their progress. And after looking at all of their portraits, Yuzo and Izumi say that Juza's portrait is the best. Then it's Sakyo's. Then Taichi and Ami are tied or are on the same level. And Bonri is last place. This pisses Bonri off, and he kind of yells at them and asks why. Why is Juza in first place when his acting is shit? They tell him that Juza's acting was bad, but he is very passionate. And that passion and hope is what is putting him on top. For Sakyo being in second, it's because Sakyo is pretty good, but there's no hope at the end. It was similar to Juza's, but there wasn't the hope at the end. For Taichi, it felt childish and didn't show who he really was, but it's passable. It's acceptable. And with Ami, it felt as if Ami was avoiding the real problem that was affecting him, so they want Ami to focus on that problem, trying to dig into that problem. And for Bonri, they can tell it was made up. That was a fake. And Bonri pissed off. Very pissed off. Pretty much just pissed off. Angry. Angry. And after practice, we have Ami making snacks for everyone, and Izumi catches him making snacks. And Ami goes and asks Izumi if she can listen to his portrait. So we learn about Ami's past. We learn that he was a biker gang leader. That's why I have that photo up. He was a biker gang leader, and he had a best friend and would do everything with that best friend, and his name was Nachi. And these two were the strongest biker gang in West Tokyo. Yeah, these two were the strongest biker gang in West Tokyo. And one day, Nachi told Ami that he had a dream, and he's doing his best to work towards that dream. But Nachi never told Ami exactly what that dream was. It was just a dream. But one day, they were attacked. Ami and Nachi were attacked by an enemy team while going on a drive one day. And Ami and Nachi got into a bike crash, which led to Nachi dying from blood loss, and Ami getting his scar in his cheek. Yeah, he had to go and watch his friend die in front of him. That's totally not traumatic at all. Yay! And because of that, Ami decided to stop fighting and ride in his motorcycle and start living his life as a normal student. He was kind of depressed during this time, and he felt immense guilt for being alive while Nachi isn't, especially when Nachi has a dream. One day, he visited Nachi's grave. Actually, not one day, but every year he visits Nachi's grave, and this year, he bumped into Nachi's parents and learned that Nachi wanted to become an actor. That was the dream that Nachi was not telling Ami that he wanted to do. This made Ami feel extremely guilty even more because Nachi couldn't live out his dream of being an actor. He would have been, if Nachi was alive, he would have been able to. So Ami took it upon himself to become an actor for Nachi and hopes it helps Nachi be at peace. Very sweet. Overall, Ami feels guilty and at the same time is reminded of his best friend through Juza, because Juza, one, strangely looks like Nachi, and two, has that same passion that Nachi has. And he is scared that Juza will be disappointed in Ami for having this guilt and not as passionate about acting as Juza is. Izumi points out that Ami seems to be interested in acting and asks if, hey, aren't you interested in acting as well? And is this acting dream not only his friends but his his dream. That makes Ami rethink his view on himself and why he's doing acting, and he feels comforted and decides to add those feelings into the portrait. So he gets help with Izumi. He gets help with Izumi to accept that he is acting for himself as well as for Nachi. Yay. Ami figures out his problem. And we go to I'm not sure if it's the day of the portrait. Yes, it's the day of the portraits. Bonri is getting increasingly frustrated with the upcoming portraits and decides to leave. Decides to quit and tells everyone, hey, I am the best. I'm totally won. Bye now. Taichi tries to stop him, and Sakyo warns him that if he leaves, he should never step foot at the dorms again. Yay! Juza was out, but comes back home and wonders what's going on. And Bonri tells him that their feud is over and that he is the better actor and that he wins. And I'm leaving. He's leaving. Yay. Juza says that he hasn't lost because he has more passion than Bonri, but Bonri's still pissed off and storms off. What the heck, Bonri? Why did you do that? Just because you're scared and that your ego is hurt, why are you running off? Okay, I guess. Okay, Bonri. Izumi chases after Bonri and convinces Bonri to watch the portraits and to show him what he was up against. And she can tell that Bonri is just running away because he's scared of the results and losing again. Bonri, wow, why are you scared of failure when you never failed in your life? Oh my gosh, what the heck, Bonri? But, yeah, Izumi goes and convinces him to watch the portraits with her. So they go and watch the portraits, and we see everyone improve and take their notes. They have taken their notes and put it into account with the portraits. And Bonri was silent throughout the entire time of watching all of them. Izumi was questioning if he was alright because he was silent. And after the play, Izumi asks Bonri if he wants to hear the winner. But he knows that it is Juza. And he realizes how do I explain this? This passion, this just Juza, makes him passionate and wants to be Juza's rival again. Yeah, watching those portraits, specifically Juza's portrait, makes him passionate about acting and wants to be Juza's rival again. He felt the same way as when he fought Juza. This portrait had the same feelings as when he first fought Juza. What the heck? Why are these two like this? Bonri, why are you like this? My gosh. Anyway, Izumi goes and tells Bonri that he should face acting as an actual challenge and think, I don't want to lose. And face it. And keep those feelings, that passionate feelings, towards acting all the time. Yeah, so he goes and tells her that. Hyodo won, right? How do I beat him? And she's so happy about it. So happy. So Bonri and Izumi go back to the dorms. Bonri apologizes and tells Autumn Troop that he watched their performances and he did feel flustered that they were better than him. And now he's taking acting more seriously and wants to put an effort into acting and beg them to let him be part of the company again. He goes and bows to them to ask them to let him back into the company. Autumn accepts his apology, and Taichi suggests for them to take a bath together to bond. Yeah, I was arrogant. Bonri's back. All of us should take a bath together. Taichi, why are you like this? Literally, no one. No. I get why, because bonding time, but at the same time, specifically a bath together. What the heck, Taichi? You could have you could have asked for anything else, I guess. Anyway, yeah. This exists. This exists. So they all go along with it because they were already going to the bathroom anyway. Wow. Lucky timing, I guess. Bonnie and Juza gets annoyed with each other because there's no space. I guess the bath the have in the dorms isn't that big. I don't know how big bathhouses are. I don't know. And Bonnie and Juza continued to call each other big and huge, and they're in each other's way. Yeah, reading that was confusing. And Taichi feels a little dejected because he's small in comparison to Bonri and Juza and Ami. And Ami tells Taichi that it's fine, size doesn't matter. Like, oh my god, this scene. Anyway, Sakura is sick and tired of them. He is sick and tired of everyone. And we also see Sakura without his glasses and clothes for the first time. Yeah, wow. And all of Autumn was surprised because this is the first time they've seen Sakura without his glasses. And they commented on how he looks young and slim. And they just stare at him. He looks at them and tells them to not stare at him. Bonding time? ? Bonding time? The next day, Bonri and Juza are early for morning practice. And oh my gosh, Bonri going to early practice, morning practice? Dang. And despite Bonri complaining, he is putting in the effort into acting now and is working well with Juza. Working well enough with Juza. We also get to see Yuki's costumes for the play. Yay. And while they were checking out the measurements for the costumes for final measurements, Sakura shows up to give some props to Yuki. And and everyone's concerned because the props looked a little too realistic, and how Sakura was talking about the props was a little concerning, but they're props. They're props. And in the props, they found yo-yos that Sakura bought because they were on sale and they felt nostalgic. And Taichi goes and tells everyone that he's pretty skilled with the yo-yo and shows off. Stand back, everyone. Y'all are about to witness awesomeness. And he does a trick. Because when it was popular back when Taichi was younger, it was popular and he did his whole best to practice and try cool tricks. So that's why he's very skillful with yo-yos. And Bonri gives it a try and immediately does some cool tricks. This discourages Taichi a little before he praises Bonri. Izumi thinks it's a little weird that Taichi is acting weird. Yeah, Izumi notices Taichi's acting weird, but thinks it's her imagination. Ami chimes in and suggests that they throw out the boxes. Oh yeah, they were cleaning up, and Ami suggests to throw out the boxes because it was taking up space. So Izumi was oh, I forgot. I just remembered what this scene is. Izumi was about to throw out the boxes and the bubble wrap, but Sakura was upset that she was throwing out the bubble wrap, so she turns her attention to Sakura and asks him, and Sakura asks her, why is she depriving him of his entertainment? That's what he tells her. Is like, why are you depriving me of my only joy, of the only joys in life? Izumi realizes that Sakura likes bubble wrap, and he likes popping the bubbles in the bubble wrap. And she thinks it's cute. And Sakura goes and threatens Izumi an empty threat, and she gives him the bubble wrap. Yeah, we learned that Sakura likes bubble wrap. I forgot about that. Sakura likes bubble wrap. It was a cute thing. Oh yeah, that's a cool move. Sad. Once again, Matsukawa shows up with a letter, another threatening letter, and it says that there will be no more warnings, and now bad things will happen. Yay! And once again, Izumi's concerned. Is this a problem? But they kind of brush it off. Now they're starting to incorporate action scenes. The action in the scenes now for the play. And Juzo is struggling saying his lines while also doing the fight scenes. Later on, Bonri sees him practicing by himself and gets tired of Juza failing. So Bonri and helps Juza. Oh my gosh, Bonri helping Juza. Damn, I guess. And yeah. And this is totally not Bonri caring about Juza or something. Oh, totally no. Oh my god, they're bonding. Oh my gosh. Guys, it's happening. It's happening. And then we cut to Taichi on a call with somebody having a very serious conversation. And Ami catches him and asks Taichi what was that about. Taichi just acts all nervous and Ami's very concerned. This is very strange. What is this, Taichi? Is this related to the weird acting from the beginning? What is this, Taichi? What is it? Now Mankai needs to do more promotion. So they decide to pass our flyers and be paired up. Bonri and Juzo are paired up, Ami and Taichi are paired up, and Sakura and Izumi are paired up. Bonri and Juzo, why am I saying stuff like that? Bonri and Juzo tried to do a street act. It was going well, and then it turned into them actually fighting. But that did catch people's attention. So, hey, win, I guess. Later on, Juzo was confronted by some delinquents, and they tried to pick a fight with Juzo. And they actually did physically fight him, but Juzo was not fighting back. Bonri catches them, beating Juzo up, and was about to beat them up, but a mysterious / pretty man helps them by lying and saying that the police were on their way. And this is a very important man for later on because he has white hair and wearing a purple shirt. It's Azuma, guys. It's Azuma. We get introduced to Azuma. And now it's the dress rehearsal. We're at their dress rehearsal finally. And they're getting ready. And Izumi was giving everyone advice. And when she comments on how so they were getting ready for their dress rehearsal. Izumi was giving everyone advice, and after all the advice, she turns to Taichi and comments on how professional he is. But Taichi's very uncomfortable with that, which is very weird. So after practice, Taichi tells everyone that he's a little tired and goes to bed early. Weird. Why are you acting like this, Taichi? And Ami accidentally kept an accessory when they were cleaning up. So Izumi said that she'll put it with the costumes. Excuse me. And when she's trying to find the costumes, she finds that their costumes are all torn up, and she gathers all of Autumn, plus Yuki, to cancel the dress rehearsals so they can work on the costumes. Yeah, all of those costumes were destroyed, and it was bad. It was bad. So Bonri and Ami had a sew. You had Juzo and Sakyo and doing their best. And Taichi acting weird. Taichi is still acting weird. What is up with that, Taichi? And luckily, they finish the costumes on time, but they don't do a dress rehearsal. But surprisingly, their first their first show of their play run does well and was well received. And once they were done, they fell asleep. Well, everyone falls asleep besides Sakyo. Izumi and Sakyo go and talk a little bit before noticing another threatening letter at the door. The letter was another threat, but Sakyo, once again, was paying no mind to it. Izumi's still worried. Sakyo, why are you ignoring this? Please stop ignoring this. This is important. But we move on, I guess. And the letter says next time it won't just be the costumes. Okay, I guess it's their third performance, and they make it to an intermission. Nothing bad has happened yet. But at their intermission, Matsukawa informs them that their props are stolen, and they have no time to go on stage. Wait, what did I say? Yeah, they have no time to figure out prop problem, and they have to go on stage. So everything's kind of going off script a little. Sakyo enters early, and Juza has to do some ad-libbing to get their story back onto the plot. And for the whole prop problem, Juza makes his hand into a finger gun, and it convinces everyone that they have props. Yeah, they just continue on. Show must go on, I guess. It was not a bad show, it was just rough. Sakura does manage to get enough props for the rest of the play run, and they're very relieved. Bonri goes and comments on how they had a just kind of pokes fun at Juza for making finger guns. Juza turns to him and tells him to shut up, and that it was the only thing he can think of at the time. But hey, it worked out, I guess. It worked out. Ami agrees, and Ami tells them that I think it starts to look believable. Yay! Sakura goes and notices that Sakyo is missing. Yeah, Sakyo is missing, and Izumi says she'll find him. Izumi goes and finds Sakyo sulking in the theater because he feels, I don't want to say stupid. He feels upset and disappointed in himself for doing a simple mistake. That despite studying acting on his own, he doesn't deserve to be on stage because he made such a simple mistake. And Izumi goes and tells him that it's fine. It's fine that he's making these mistakes and that he's doing acting, and he's been a great help, and she feels relieved to have him in Monkai because they have a very similar role of taking care of everyone, taking care of the company. She also tells him that he shouldn't give up on theater just because he feels regret and he does simple mistakes, and that he should take these chances because she notices that Sakyo pulls away from everyone or any chance that is given, and she encourages him, hey, you're not old, you are also a part of the team, you also should be a part of the group and take these chances. It's a sweet moment between the two. Oh my god, I once again Sakyo Izo. Oh my god, I like them. Anyway, moving on. So their next play, Sakyo comes back. Actually, wait, what is it? Yeah, Sakyo comes back to apologize to Monkai, to Autumn Troop, for his mistake from the last show. And he tells everyone that he's going to take being on stage more seriously. And in their next performance, Sakyo outshines all of Autumn Troop. Yay. Some weird stuff is going on with Taichi. Taichi's been acting weird. He's been acting weird, and finally, the night before the last show, he gets a call, specifically from Reni Kamikizaka. Revealed that he's on the phone with Reni, and Reni tells him that it doesn't matter what he does, he should just try to ruin the show. If not, then Taichi will never have a chance to act again. What? What do you mean? What's happening? He's been working with Reni this entire time. Oh my gosh. Ami overhears this, Taichi's conversation, and Taichi gets overwhelmed and breaks down in front of Ami and reveals the truth that he was the one who's been sending the threatening letters and did all the bad things. He destroyed the costumes and stole the props. He did all that. What the heck? Why would you do that? Ami goes and comforts Taichi and tells Taichi that he knew something was up with him and he said nothing. Ami is encouraging Taichi to apologize to everyone and that he'll be there too because he's partially to blame. This was a really sad scene. If you look it up, it's a really good scene. So Taichi goes and tells everyone the truth. They were shocked. They were shocked that this happened, but they were not angry with him. They just asked, why did he do it? Why did Taichi do it? And Taichi explains that he was part of God Troop and was sent by Rennie to ruin Monkai Company. Ami also apologizes for not stopping Taichi. But Bonri chimes in and suggests that he and Taichi should perform portraits in front of everyone because him and Taichi are the only ones who had fake portraits. So, and doing these portraits, we'll get a better understanding of who Taichi is and why this whole thing happened, why he stole props, he destroyed costumes, he sent threatening letters. And so we go and learn about Taichi's portraits and his past. So what we learn about Taichi is that he's always wanted to be noticed. He always wants to be popular. He always wanted to be noticed. And no one really paid attention to him, especially his peers in school. And he never really stood out. Nothing really stood out about him. He was very normal. One day, when Ultra Yo-Yos got popular, he noticed that people who weren't popular became popular with the yo-yo skills, so Taichi thought that he could be noticed if he was skillful with the yo-yo, and Taichi practiced every day. And once he got skilled enough, everyone already moved on to the next trendy thing, so he felt left behind. The only time he ever got noticed by his peers was when he was an extra on TV. A family member of his introduced him to be an extra, and people from his class noticed him on that TV show and thought that was cool. This led to him getting interested in acting and becoming an actor because he will get noticed. So he begged his parents to go to a children's acting school, and he only got extra roles. He only got roles for extras, and that really diminished Taichi's self-esteem. One time he worked with Tenma for a show and he realized he could never be like Tenma. He could never be that charismatic and have that natural stage presence. It really, really beat him down. But somehow he managed to get into the ensemble cast for God Troop. And he still felt like he did when he was at elementary school. Not noticed and not paid attention to. One day, Rennie called him to join Monkai as a spy. Taichi didn't want to ruin another company, but Rennie said he'll make Taichi part of the main cast of God Troop if he did. And because of Taichi's desire to be seen and noticed, that override his morals and accepted the task to go to Monkai and sabotage them. But when he joined Monkai, he was surprised to see Tenma again, and he was very jealous over Bonri's skills and Judoza's passion and Tenma. It made him feel guilty. As you see, they're so much better than me. And this guilt kept building up inside of him while he was getting closer with Autumn Troop, and he felt so horrible for all the damage that he's done. And he feels that he should not be on stage with any of them ever again. So he apologizes and is just tearful. Bonri does his portrait, what we saw in the beginning of the entirety of my bad boy portrait. And all of Autumn plus Izumi have a better understanding of Taichi and Bonri, and they feel really bad for Taichi and his whole situation. They really like Taichi, but they feel bad for why this even happened, and they ask him what he wanted to do. Does Taichi want to go back to God Troop or be a part of Monkai Company? And this leads to Taichi choosing to stick with Monkai Company, and Autumn Troop is there to support him. He does the whole thing and claims this whole thing of, I'm Taichi now of Monkai Company's Autumn Troop. He yells that out and states that he's part of Monkai. No matter what, he's part of Monkai. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Whoopsie. So that whole thing. We gotta go back. That was fucking. I gotta lower the music for that. So we have this small moment with Juza and Bangri where they can't sleep and have an awkward sentimental conversation. And Juza compliments Bangri's portrait. And Bangri goes and blames him / thanks Juza for helping him find his passion in life. Yeah, this is Muse, by the way. I should really stop this. Oh my god, I forgot about this. I love... Yeah. Okay, yeah. I forgot about that. Let's see. By the way, that was Muse, which was part of the stage play. And it's basically Bonnery confessing that, and thanking his muse, Juza, for being his passion in life. Okay. Anyway. Before the final performance, Taichi gets confronted by Rennie. And Rennie's like, oh my gosh. You're gonna do great. Just destroy everything. Go and make a scene. I don't care. Go and destroy the show. But Bonnery and Juza goes and finds Taichi and defend Taichi and tells Rennie off. Tosco's also here, by the way. And Tosco was very confused and can't bear to be in God Troop anymore because they're doing dirty tricks, and he quits. He quits God Troop. He tells Rennie, I quit. So he's not part of God Troop. Yay. And we finally go to the actual performance. So, for the actual performance, we have Luciano and Lansky getting called by their boss Capone that they have a job to work on a job together. And the two argue, but try their best to complete the mission. They continue to argue while they're working. They call each other they're the worst and stuff. And unfortunately, they make a mistake during their mission and lose the goods they needed to obtain for Capone. Yeah. So they go to enemy territory to get back the goods. And they get into a fight because Luciano heads into the fight without thinking. And Lansky secures an escape route for them to leave. So this is where the action happens. Bang, bang. And here we have Lansky taking... Well, not only taking, but Lansky visiting his brother Benjamin. Luciano just so happens to be with them. And so Lansky introduces Benjamin, and Benjamin goes and asks, are you my brother's friend? And Luciano cannot believe that Benjamin is Lansky's brother. Like, this kind, sweet boy is Lansky's brother. Okay. Lansky leaves, leaving Luciano and Benjamin to talk. Benjamin asks Luciano how Lansky's doing, since he is sick and he can't go outside. Luciano gives Lansky some praise, so Benjamin has some relief, but Benjamin's still worried about his brother because Lansky is worried about the money because Benjamin has a high-risk operation. I know. Oh, no. Yeah, Benjamin needs help. He's a cute boy. He needs help. And later on, Capone calls Luciano to check up on the buddies. And Sakura does some ad-libbing and calls out past Bonnery and sets up a good plot point for Lansky. And he's just... this is a good plot point. And he goes and tells him, don't assume you know everything. And great plot point. So we cut to Lansky, and it reveals that he's working with Dewey. And that Dewey is blackmailing Lansky and threatening Benjamin's life, essentially. I know. Capone finds out that someone has betrayed him, and it is pointing to Luciano, that Luciano's the traitor, but it's actually Lansky who's the traitor, so Luciano kind of gets what is it, tied up and beaten and going to be paid for his crimes or something like that. Luciano's shocked and angry and sad that he was betrayed by Lansky, his partner. And he's like, I can't believe you. I thought we were partners. I thought you were a good guy. Ah. And in this interaction, they escape. Despite Luciano yelling at Lansky, Lansky helps him escape. And a gang member informs Capone of what happened, and Capone is like, is not surprised about that, and is about the two, but he's very hopeful for those two and getting good work and whatever. He cares about them, so he's like, okay, I guess. Very chill of Capone, I guess. And once the two escape, they start bickering again. Yeah. And Lansky wants to compensate Luciano for his actions, and Luciano finds it funny. He's like, sorry, I'll pay you. You pay me? Ha! Grit your teeth. Huh? Yeah. And this was supposed to be kind of a fake punch, but Bonri actually punches Juza, and everyone's surprised by that. They're like, okay, I guess. Oh my gosh, what did you do that? And then they talk about what they're gonna do now since they're kicked out of the mafia. Lansky wants to provide for his brother, and Luciano's out of a job, so the two pair up and continue to figure out what they're gonna do with their lives. Yeah, and Luciano asks if they can be jacks of all trades. It's fun. Oh, yeah, I messed up the order of the slides. He's supposed to, yeah. Yeah. But, anyway, once the curtain falls, Bonner and Juza give each other a high five. And then fight about who did better in acting. My god, they always fight. But it's a cool CG moment where they high five, and to show off that they are friends. Yep. Arigato. Yay. So we have Spring and Summer going backstage as moral support and congratulating the Autumn Troop. We have the reveal. Well, everyone learns that Muku and Juza are cousins, and that they want to see Juza's younger brother, Kumon. Kumon mention. And Itaru immediately asks Bonner to play a video game after the play. So fun. Sakura joins in and congratulates Sako. He is crying, screaming, crying. He's like, oh my god, you did so well. And for Taichi confesses to Yuki that he destroyed the costumes and apologizes to him. And so what Yuki goes and tells him is that Taichi is gonna go and help him with costumes for the Winter Troop. And yeah, understand, dumb dog. Woof. I'm laughing at my own joke because I'm sorry, Yuki. You're going to have to help me for winter. Understand that, dumb dog? Woof. He actually woofs. He actually barks. Every time Yuki calls him a dumb dog, he actually barks. There is something going on, and I do not want to know. But Taichi, also Tenma's here, so Taichi tells Tenma that he's going to become a great actor like him, and this confuses Tenma, being like, sure, I guess, whatever. And so we cut to the mysterious, beautiful man in the purple shirt, and him finding out that Mankai is accepting new members for Winter Troop. And we have a moment with Izumi and Sakyo again, where they're getting ready for Winter Troop and they're taking down the Picturesque set. Sakyo finds Izumi reminiscing about the play and Mankai as a whole, even though they just had the play run. Okay. And in their conversation, Sakura ruffles Izumi's hair and mentions when they hung out back then, all the way in the past, And he briefly mentions that she was his first crush, but brushes it off as a joke. But it's not a joke. He's kind of serious, but he makes it a joke. Sakura then starts lecturing her on what they should do for winter and preparing for the national performances. And he goes and teases her again and says that back then he couldn't wait to see her again, all grown up. Basically saying he missed her. He misses her. And even when he thinks that he's just acting again, but he's not acting, he has been missing her for a long time. Oh my god! I've been yelling about these two this entire time. I can finally yell about them. Oh my god, I love them. Anyway, we move to Rennie and how he's making Haruto God Troop's top actor since Tasuku quit, and that he is planning to challenge Mankai to an act-off. Okay, I guess. And we end autumn with Tasuku and a new character at the train station, and he has some weird feelings about that new person, about this very familiar person. And that's the end of Autumn Act 1. It was mainly me yelling about all the characters and a lot of Izumi and Saku and Taichi. If I'm really gonna be honest, I'm just yelling about the three of them. But that's why I just like Autumn. I really like Autumn, guys. I love Autumn too. But anyway, next week we're going over basically the end of season 1, which is winter, which will wrap up season 1. Yay. Next week. Yay. Looking forward to that. But thank you for listening. Bye now. Sorry for the jump scare of Muse. Ah!